Dae-sung walked along the narrow metal corridor of the research outpost, carrying a small toolbox and humming softly to himself. The night shift was quiet, and he enjoyed the peace while fixing small problems that others ignored. He liked simple things, and he liked his work. It made him feel useful. He did not expect anything strange to happen. But the world changed in a single burst of white light. He heard the alarms first. A sharp warning sound echoed through the outpost, and the entire building shook as if hit by a huge force. Dae-sung dropped his tools and rushed to the main control room. But before he could reach it, the ceiling lit up with crackling sparks. A hole opened in the air, forming a bright circle of swirling light. He stepped back, eyes wide, but he could not look away. Figures stepped through the glowing hole. They were tall, elegant, and moved like shadows wrapped in silver light. Their armor shone with strange symbols that Dae-sung had never seen before. They held long, sharp weapons that floated beside their hands. He did not know who they were, but he knew they were not from Earth. One of them pointed toward him. A wave of energy hit his chest like a heavy wind, knocking the breath out of him. He fell to the floor and felt the world spinning around him. His vision blurred, and when he tried to stand, another pulse of energy wrapped around his body like invisible chains. He heard a voice speaking in a language he did not know. Then his consciousness faded. When Dae-sung opened his eyes again, he was lying on a smooth metal floor. The air felt cleaner, lighter, and strangely warm. The room around him was bright, but not with electric lights, more like soft, glowing walls. He sat up slowly, feeling dizzy but unhurt. He realized he was inside a ship, not an Earth ship, something far more advanced, that the door to the room slid open without a sound. 2 guards entered. They wore silver armor that flowed like liquid when they moved. They were not human, but their faces were not frightening. They were slim, pale, and had sharp, intelligent eyes that examined him closely. One guard gestured for him to follow. Dae-sung stood, unsure if resisting would make things worse. He followed them through a long corridor filled with soft glowing symbols along the walls. The entire place felt alive, as if the ship itself was watching him. The guards brought him to a large chamber. At the center of the room stood a tall throne made of a crystal-like material. It pulsed with gentle blue light. On the throne sat the queen. She was different from the guards. Taller, more graceful, and wearing armor that glowed like a star. Her hair floated gently around her shoulders, as if moved by some unseen energy. Her eyes were silver and bright, reflecting everything they saw. Dae-sung had never seen anything like her. She looked powerful but calm, dangerous but thoughtful. She watched him with interest. "Human," she said, her voice clear and soft. He did not expect to understand her, but somehow he did. The words formed in his mind without sound, as if she spoke directly into his thoughts. He swallowed hard and tried to stay calm. "I am Queen Lyra of the Aurelian Dominion," she said. "You were captured during our arrival on your planet. You will answer my questions." Dae-sung nodded slowly. He did not know what she wanted, but he sensed he would not be harmed as long as he cooperated. "What were you doing at the outpost?" she asked. "I was working," Dae-sung said. "I fix machines. I fix small things. I am an engineer." Lyra blinked. She seemed surprised that he did not show fear. "You do not tremble," she said. "Most species tremble when brought before me." Dae-sung did feel fear, but he kept his voice steady. "Shaking will not help me," he said simply. The queen leaned forward slightly. Her eyes narrowed with curiosity. "You are unlike other humans described in the records," she said. "Your kind fights, resists, and breaks easily. Yet you stand calm." Dae-sung shrugged. "I don't know those records. I only know myself. I fix things. When something breaks, I fix it. When there is trouble, I stay calm so I can think. The guards looked at each other, unsure how to react to his simple answer. Queen Lyra studied him for a long moment. Daisung felt her presence pressing softly against his mind, like a gentle wind trying to understand him. Most beings would panic under such pressure, but Daisung simply breathed slowly and kept his thoughts steady. He imagined a quiet workshop, the smell of metal and oil, the peaceful sound of tools clicking. Lyra suddenly pulled back, startled. "You resist my telepathy so easily?" she asked. "I'm not resisting," Daisung said honestly. "I'm just thinking of something calm." This seemed to confuse her even more. "You do not fear me," she said again, her voice softer this time. Daisung looked around the room. The guards, the throne, the glowing walls. It was all far beyond human understanding. He did feel small and helpless, but he also felt strangely steady. "I don't think fear will help me understand what is happening," he said. The queen stood from her throne. Her presence filled the room like a silent storm. She walked toward him, each step smooth and regal. When she stopped in front of him, she looked down into his eyes. "You are a captive of the Aurelian Dominion," she said. "Your future depends on your cooperation. If you lie, if you resist, if you behave foolishly, you will be punished." "Does this frighten you?" Daisung took a breath. "It sounds scary," he admitted, "but I'm still here, and I can't change anything by panicking." Queen Lyra stared at him as if trying to solve a puzzle. Finally, she turned away. "Take him to evaluation chamber 4, she ordered. The guards bowed and motioned for Daisung to follow Dot as he walked out of the throne room. He felt the queen's gaze on his back. Her expression was unreadable, but he sensed something had changed. He had not answered her questions in the way she expected. He had not acted like a captive should, and she was no longer simply curious. She was intrigued. Daisung did not know what the Aurelians wanted from Earth, or why they had captured him. But he knew one thing for certain. His calmness had made the queen pause, and in a place like this, making the queen pause was the beginning of something far bigger than he understood. Daisung woke up on a floating platform inside a round chamber. The walls were smooth and bright, almost glowing like warm sunlight. The air smelled clean, almost sweet, and he could hear a soft hum coming from somewhere above him. It felt peaceful, but he knew the Aurelians did not create peaceful places for comfort. This room was made for testing. He slowly sat up. The platform under him hovered a few centimeters above the floor, gently drifting as if moved by invisible waves. He touched its surface. It was firm but warm, not like metal. He wondered what kind of material it was, but before he could examine it more, a door slid open. A woman entered the room. She had pale silver eyes, soft dark hair, and a calm expression. She wore a simple uniform that glowed slightly around the edges. She looked more human than the guards, and even more human than Queen Lyra. Her steps were gentle, as if she did not want to startle him. "I am Rin," she said. Her voice was soft, but he felt it inside his mind more than through his ears. "I am assigned to observe you." Daisung nodded. "Hello," he said politely. He tried to stay calm. Rin seemed kinder than the queen, but he understood that she was here to study him, not comfort him. Rin studied him with gentle curiosity. "You are calm again," she said. "It is unusual. Most captives cry or break quickly during evaluation, but you seemed stable. It is interesting." Daisung gave a small smile. "Crying will not help me leave this place," he said. Rin looked confused for a moment, then she gave a small nod. "We will begin with basic tests," she said. "Please follow the lights." She waved her hand, and soft blue lights appeared in the air, moving slowly around the chamber. Daisung stepped off the floating platform. and the lights drifted away from him. He followed them around the room. They changed speed, changed height, and even split into several moving points. He kept up without much trouble. Rin watched him closely. Her expression grew thoughtful. When the lights disappeared, she approached him. "You move with focus," she said. "Your mind does not wander. You do not panic even when your path changes." Daesung rubbed the back of his neck. "I repair machines," he said. "Sometimes things go wrong. A machine does not wait for you to panic, so you learn not to panic." Rin blinked. She looked like she had never heard such a simple and honest explanation before. Then she lifted her hand again. A new test began. A large holographic display appeared around Daesung. Strange symbols floated in front of him. Some flashed, some rotated slowly, others changed shape. A soft chime rang in the room. "These symbols represent patterns," Rin said. "Most beings cannot understand them without telepathic guidance. But you will try to match pairs by using your observation only." Daesung stared quietly at the glowing symbols. They were confusing at first, but he began to notice small details. A tiny line here, a repeating shape there, a shift in color on another symbol. He pointed at two symbols that looked alike. The hologram chimed again, brighter this time. Rin's eyes widened slightly. Daesung kept going. He matched more pairs. Some took longer, but he stayed patient. He did not rush. He did not let frustration rise. When he reached the final pair, the hologram dissolved. Rin stepped forward. "You completed it. Without help, without fear, and without confusion." She looked down at her device, then back at him. "This is unexpected." Daesung shrugged. "I like puzzles," he said simply. "It helps me stay calm." Rin stared at him as if she was trying to understand a strange creature. Then she said something that surprised him. "Queen Lyra believes humans break easily. But you do not break. And you do not hide fear and anger like many of your kind. You simply accept and continue." Daesung thought about her words. Maybe they tested the wrong kind of humans before. He said. Rin paused. She seemed to think deeply about his words. After a moment, she motioned for him to sit on a bench that rose smoothly from the floor. He sat down, and Rin sat across from him. She looked calm but focused. "Tell me," she said, "how do humans deal with fear? What do you do when something scares you?" Daesung took a slow breath. "We are scared often," he said. "But fear is not the end. Fear just means something is dangerous. So we try to understand it. Then we try to solve it." Rin leaned forward slightly. "Solve it?" "Yes," Daesung said. "Problems can be solved. Even scary ones. Sometimes slowly. Sometimes together. But we try." Rin looked at him as if she had never heard such a simple idea spoken with such ease. "That is unusual for a species without telepathy," she said. Daesung tilted his head. "Why does telepathy matter?" Rin lowered her eyes. "Most species who lack telepathy crumble under strong emotions. They drown in them. They become chaotic. They panic. They lose control. But you stay steady." Daesung gave a small smile. "Maybe humans learn to stand strong alone," he said. "We do not have telepathy, so we find strength inside ourselves." Rin slowly nodded, as if learning something important. The door opened again, and two guards entered. They whispered something into Rin's ear. She listened, then turned back to Daesung. "The Queen wishes to see the results," she said. "She expected you to fail. She wishes to understand why you did not." Daesung rubbed his hands together nervously. "Is she angry?" Rin shook her head softly. "No, she is curious. But be careful. The Queen does not enjoy being confused. The guards approached Daesung. They did not grab him or push him. Instead, they simply waited for him to stand. He followed them out of the chamber, and Rin walked beside him as they walked through the shining corridors of the Aurelian ship. Daesung noticed more details: floating panels, symbols running along the walls, gentle lights that seemed alive. Everything felt advanced and calm, but also cold. Like a world without warmth. Rin spoke quietly as they walked. Your calmness troubles the queen. She does not understand it. She thinks you are hiding something. Daesung shook his head. I am not hiding anything. I am just trying to stay steady. Rin gave him a thoughtful look. Perhaps that is what she fears. A human who stays steady even in her presence. Before Daesung could answer, the throne room door opened. Queen Lyra stood at the center, her eyes glowing brighter than before. She turned toward him, and for a moment, the room felt heavier. Rin stepped aside. Daesung stood alone. The queen approached him slowly. Human, she said, her voice echoing softly in his mind. You passed every test. You resisted every fear trap. You remained calm under pressure that breaks most species. Daesung stayed quiet. Lyra stared into his eyes. Why? Why does fear not control you? Why can you calm yourself without telepathy? Why do you not collapse under uncertainty? Her questions were sharp, almost demanding. Daesung looked up at her, realizing she truly did not understand. He took a slow breath. Because fear is not the end, he said. Fear is only the beginning of trying. For the first time, Queen Lyra looked genuinely surprised. Daesung did not know it yet, but his simple answer had shaken the most powerful ruler of the Aurelian dominion. Daesung stood in the center of a quiet room, unsure why he had been brought there. The room was dim, lit only by soft white lights along the walls. There were no guards, no machines, and no strange symbols. It felt almost human, like someone tried to make the space less frightening. But he knew very well that nothing on the ship was meant for comfort. He waited silently until the door opened. Queen Lyra entered the room, her long steps graceful and controlled. Her armor glowed faintly, but she looked calmer than before. She stopped a short distance from him and studied him for a few seconds, her silver eyes bright with curiosity and something else he could not name. You may speak freely here, she said. Her voice echoed softly in his mind and ears at the same time. This chamber blocks all outside telepathic interference. Only you and I can communicate. Daesung nodded slowly. Why am I here? Because you confuse me, Lyra said in a steady voice. And I do not like being confused. Daesung felt a small, nervous laugh rise inside him, but he did not let it out. Instead, he kept a calm expression. Lyra stepped closer. You do not fear the tests. You do not break under pressure. You answer simply and honestly. And you carry no hatred, even though you are a captive. Her eyes narrowed slightly. This is unusual for your species. Daesung lowered his head for a moment. Maybe I am not the kind of human your records talk about. The queen studied his face, searching for something. That is what I want to understand. Why are you different? What drives your calmness? What gives you strength without telepathy? Daesung let out a slow breath. He was tired, confused, scared, and yet something inside him remained steady. He did not know why he was like this. He only knew that panicking would not help. I do not know if I am different, he said. But when things feel dangerous, I try to think. Thinking helps me. Fear does not. He paused. I cannot control what happens around me, but I can control myself. Lyra tilted her head slightly, as if trying to understand a difficult idea. You believe control comes from within. Yes, he said softly. If I lose control inside myself, everything else becomes worse. The queen circled him slowly, her expression thoughtful. You speak like a strategist, yet you are only an engineer. You speak like a warrior, yet you have never held a weapon. You speak like someone who has seen battle, yet you lived a simple life. Daesung smiled a little. Sometimes simple lives teach strong lessons. Lyra stopped in front of him again. Her silver eyes locked onto his. Your answers challenge everything we know about humans. The Aurelian Dominion has studied your species for many generations. Our reports say humans are loud, emotional, irrational, afraid of the unknown, and quick to break. She paused. Yet you stand calm in a place where even warriors tremble. Why? Daesung lifted his shoulders slightly. Because fear does not solve problems. Lyra blinked. She seemed almost surprised by the simplicity of his words. Daesung took a breath. When something is scary, we do not run right away. Sometimes we do, but many times humans stop and think. We plan, we try again. We learn, we build. We repair, we keep going. He looked down at his hands. I fix things. That is what I do. Even now, when I am scared, I try to fix my thoughts so I can stay steady. For a moment, the queen said nothing. Then she asked quietly, Are all humans like this? Daesung hesitated. Not all, he said honestly. Some break. Some panic quickly. Some hide. Some fight too fast. But many humans try. They keep going even when it hurts. We are not strong like other species. We do not have telepathy. We do not have great technology. We do not live long. But we keep trying. That is what humans do. Lyra stepped back slowly, almost as if his words had pushed her without touching her. Her eyes widened a little, not in fear, but in shock. Try, she whispered. Humans advance because they try. They survive because they try. They stand because they try. She looked at him again, and her expression trembled between confusion and awe. Your strength is not physical. It is not mental resistance. It is something else. Something we cannot measure. Daesung nodded softly. Maybe we call it hope. The word hit her harder than he expected. Lyra froze. Her breath caught. Her eyes widened. She stared at him as if he had spoken a forbidden secret. Hope, she repeated slowly, the word sounding strange in her voice. A belief in something that is not proven. A belief in a future that does not exist yet. A belief in light even when surrounded by darkness. She shook her head, almost in disbelief. Such a concept cannot be logical. Daesung smiled gently. It is not, but it is powerful. Silence filled the room. The queen looked away for the first time since she entered. Her usually calm and controlled posture weakened slightly. She seemed to struggle with her own thoughts, as if Daesung's simple answer opened a door she never knew existed. Hope, she whispered again. Your kind survives through hope. That explains your wars, your advancements, your persistence, your refusal to surrender. She turned back to him suddenly. But tell me this, why do you hope even now? You are trapped. You cannot escape. You stand before the ruler of the Dominion. You have no reason to hope. Daesung met her eyes. I hope because I still have a future, he said calmly. I do not know what will happen. But as long as I am alive, there is a chance things can change. There is a chance something good can happen. I do not need to know the future to believe in it. Lyra stared at him as if she saw him for the first time. Then her voice softened. Your future depends on me. Does that not frighten you? Daesung took a slow breath. Yes, he admitted. But fear does not stop hope. For a moment, Lyra's perfect composure cracked. Her lips parted slightly. Her eyes softened. She looked almost human. You are? She paused, searching for the right word. You are unlike any being I have ever met. Daisung lowered his eyes humbly. I am just myself. The queen closed her eyes for a brief moment. When she opened them, they were different, not colder, but deeper, filled with questions she never thought she would ask. Your answer, she said quietly, has changed something inside me. I do not know what it is, but I cannot ignore it. She stepped back. You may return to your chamber. I must think. She turned away, but before the guards could enter, she added one more soft sentence. Hope. She said, humans are dangerous not because they fight, but because they hope. Daesung sat quietly in the small chamber they had given him, his back leaning against the smooth, glowing wall. It was not a prison cell, but it was not a room meant for comfort either. There was a soft bed, a light that dimmed on its own, and a faint hum that never went away. The Aurelian ship felt alive, like it had a heartbeat, and every sound reminded him he was still a prisoner. He was thinking about Queen Lyra's reaction, the way she had gone still when he spoke about hope, the way her eyes had changed. He could not understand why his simple words affected her so much. Maybe the Aurelians had forgotten what hope was. Maybe they never had it. The door slid open without warning. In walked in, carrying a thin device in her hands. She looked more tense than usual, her silver eyes shifting quickly around the room as if checking for danger. You must come with me, she said softly. Daesung stood. Is something wrong? Rin hesitated before answering. The queen has been thinking since your conversation with her. She has not spoken to anyone. Her guards are worried. Her council is confused. And some of them think you are a threat. She looked at him sadly. You are now being watched by more than just the queen. Daesung felt a chill inside him. I didn't try to cause trouble. I only talked. Yes, Rin said. But sometimes words can move planets more than weapons. She led him through the corridor. The lights along the walls dimmed and brightened as they walked, reacting to their presence. Daesung noticed several Aurelian soldiers standing at the corners, watching him with cold, unreadable eyes. Rin led him into a large room filled with floating screens. Strange images moved across them, showing maps, data streams, and symbols he could not understand. And standing in the middle was another Aurelian woman. She looked younger than Lyra, but carried an air of sharp intelligence. This is Yuna, Rin said. She is a diplomatic officer. The queen requested her presence. She lowered her voice. Yuna has studied many species. She will ask questions. Different questions. Yuna stepped forward. Her footsteps were gentle, and her expression was calm, but serious. You are Daesung, she said. The human who surprised the queen. Daesung nodded. I guess so. Yuna circled him slowly. Her eyes were colder than Rin's, more analytical. The queen has changed since speaking to you. She questions the invasion plan, questions our understanding of humans, and questions her own beliefs. This has caused concern. She paused. We must understand why your words had such an effect on her. Daesung felt uneasy. I didn't intend anything like that. I only answered her questions. Yes, Yuna said, but your answers were unexpected, and unexpected things can be dangerous. She tapped her device, and one of the screens showed a glowing image of Earth. The queen hesitates now. If she hesitates, the Dominion hesitates. If the Dominion hesitates, rival factions will act. This is not a small matter. Daesung swallowed. He did not know that his simple words could cause so much trouble. Yuna studied him more closely. Tell me about humans, she said. Tell me why your species continues forward even after great loss. Daesung took a slow breath. Because stopping means we give up, and humans don't like giving up. We argue, we fail, we fight, we make mistakes. But we keep moving. Yuna nodded slowly. And this idea, hope. Can all humans feel it? Daesung thought before answering. Most can. Even when we don't realize it, it's there. It's why we try again after failing. It's why we get up when we fall. It's why we build things, why we dream, why we explore. Hope makes people keep going. Yuna exchanged a glance with Rin, who looked genuinely surprised. Hope is not logical, Yuna said. It is not measurable. It has no shape. It changes with each person. And yet it moves your entire species? Daesung nodded. Yes, that is what makes us human. Yuna looked troubled. This is dangerous. A species that cannot be controlled by logic alone is unpredictable. Unpredictable doesn't mean dangerous, Daesung said softly. It means alive. Rin looked at him with gentle eyes, but Yuna kept her expression serious. The Queen must decide soon, Yuna said. There is pressure from the Council. Some believe her thinking has been influenced by you in a way that weakens her judgment. They want her to end the conversation with you. Some even want you removed. She paused. Removed from existence. Daesung felt a cold weight settle on his chest. I did not mean to cause trouble. Trouble comes from change, Yuna said. And you have changed the Queen's heart, even if she does not admit it. The screens suddenly flickered. A guard entered the room with a sharp bow. The Queen requests Daesung's presence, the guard said. Rin and Yuna exchanged worried looks. This is too soon. Yuna whispered. We must go, Rin said gently. The guard led Daesung through a long corridor until they reached the throne room. The doors opened slowly. Inside, the room was quiet, darker than usual, as if the lights had dimmed to match the Queen's mood. Queen Lyra stood beside her throne, not sitting this time. She looked different, less composed, her silver eyes softer, her expression filled with something like conflict. Daesung, she said quietly. He stepped forward. I am here. Lyra looked at him carefully, as though searching for something inside him. Your words have caused unrest, she said. My council challenges my hesitation. They believe you have clouded my judgment. Daesung felt guilt rise inside him. I did not try to. I know, she said. But intention does not erase effect. She walked closer, her steps slow and quiet. Your answer about hope. It opened something inside me. Something I have not felt in many cycles. She stopped directly in front of him. When you said hope is believing in a future you cannot see, it made me realize that the Dominion does not believe in anything. We only conquer. We only control. We only grow. But we do not believe. Daesung listened silently. Lyra spoke again, her voice softer. Your species is fragile. Your bodies are weak. Your lives are short. Yet you have something we do not. Something I cannot understand fully. You have the power to hope. She looked away for a moment. And that makes humans dangerous. Not because you fight, but because you continue. Daesung lowered his eyes. Hope helps us move forward. Nothing more. Lyra shook her head. It is more. Much more. She stepped closer until she stood only a short distance away. And that is why my council fears you. They fear what your hope could do to us. Daesung felt fear, now not from Lyra, but for her. What will you do? Lyra took a slow breath. I do not know. I must choose soon. My next action will determine the future of the Dominion. And your planet. Her eyes softened. But your words continue to echo inside me. I cannot ignore them anymore. She closed her eyes briefly. Hope, she whispered. A small word with a great weight. She opened her eyes again and looked at him with a mix of fear and wonder. Daesung, she said softly, you have already changed me. And that change will shape everything that comes next. Daesung stood in the middle of the throne room, unsure of what would happen next. The large space felt heavier than before, as if the air itself was waiting for an answer. Lights along the walls flickered gently, reacting to the queen's thoughts. He could feel tension all around him, even though no one spoke. Queen Lyra stood near her throne, with her hands behind her back. Her expression was calm on the surface, but her eyes were filled with 1,000 emotions she did not show. She had always looked strong, proud, and controlled, but now, for the first time, she looked unsure. Daesung did not know what she was thinking, but he could feel the weight of her decision. It was not only about him. It was about his planet. It was about her people. It was about the direction of the Aurelian Dominion. The door opened, and several Aurelian council members walked in. Their armor glowed with sharp colors, and their faces were stiff with worry and disapproval. One stepped forward. "Your Majesty, the time has come. You must declare your decision. Will the invasion continue, or will it be suspended? The Dominion cannot wait any longer." Lyra did not answer. She kept her eyes on Daesung. Another council member spoke sharply. "This human has influenced you. Your hesitation is dangerous. The Dominion does not pause for emotions. It does not bend for one fragile creature. We cannot show weakness." Daesung felt his heart thump hard inside his chest. He had never meant to cause this. He had never wanted to influence anything or anyone. He had only answered honestly. Rin and Yuna stood near the side of the room, watching silently. Rin looked worried. Yuna looked tense. The entire room felt like a storm waiting to break. Queen Lyra finally lifted her hand, and the room went silent. "I have listened to all of you," she said quietly. "And I have listened to him." Her eyes moved to Daesung again. "Human," she said softly, "step forward." Daesung did as she said. His legs felt heavy, but he forced himself to stay calm. He stopped in front of her, feeling dozens of eyes watching him. Lyra studied him with a deep gaze, as if looking into his thoughts again. But this time, she did not push into his mind. She simply looked. "Daesung," she said, "you spoke of hope, a force without shape or logic, a force that drives your kind to rise again and again, a force that made you stand calm before me when others would have collapsed." Daesung swallowed. "I only said what I believe." Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes, you did. And your belief has shaken what I thought was unshakeable." The council members whispered among themselves, uncomfortable with her words. Lyra continued, her voice stronger now. "For cycles, the Dominion has grown only through conquest. We have taken worlds, controlled species, and believed ourselves superior. We believed emotions made us weak. We believed hope was foolish. But this human, with a simple answer, has made me see that our strength is also our weakness. We have forgotten how to dream. We have forgotten how to believe in something more than power." The council grew restless. "Your Majesty," one began. She raised her hand sharply. Silence. Her voice rang through the room. The council members stopped speaking. Lyra turned back to Daesung. "When you spoke of hope, I felt something I have not felt since I was young. A small spark. A thought that maybe there is another path besides domination. A path where the Dominion can grow through understanding, not force." She paused. "You opened that idea inside me, and I cannot ignore it." Daesung felt warmth rise in his chest. He did not know what to say. Lyra faced the council. Her posture was tall and strong again. "I have made my decision. There will be no invasion of Earth. The Dominion will not destroy a species whose greatest strength is hope. Instead, we will seek understanding." The council erupted in shock. "You cannot. This is impossible." The Dominion has never, but Lyra cut them off with a cold glare. I am queen, and my decision is final. Silence fell again. Daesung let out a slow breath he did not realize he was holding. Lyra turned back to him. Daesung, you will not remain a captive. You will return to your world alive and free, but not as the person you were before. He blinked. What do you mean? Lyra stepped closer, her voice softer. You will return as a bridge between our species. You will be an envoy, a messenger of peace. Not because you are strong or trained or powerful, she paused, but because you carry hope. Daesung felt his throat tighten. I don't know if I'm the right person for that. I'm just an engineer. Lyra smiled faintly, the closest he had seen to a real smile from her. That is exactly why you are right. You speak with honesty. You act with calm. You do not seek power. You simply try. And sometimes, trying is more powerful than anything else. Her silver eyes softened. You changed me with only words. That is more power than most warriors ever have. Daesung looked down, feeling overwhelmed. Yuna stepped forward. It is unusual, she said softly, but it is the correct choice. Letting the human return may help the Dominion grow in new ways. Rin nodded with gentle approval. He showed us something we forgot. The council did not speak again. They looked defeated, but also curious, as if they knew they could not stop the queen, but wanted to see where her decision would lead. Lyra lifted her hand. A holographic portal opened, glowing with soft blue light. This will take you back to Earth, she said. Your people will find you safe, and your world will remain untouched. But someday, Daesung, we will meet again, not as queen and captive, but as allies. Daesung looked at the portal, then back at her. Thank you, he said quietly, for listening, for thinking, for believing, even just a little. Lyra stepped closer one last time. I did not believe, she said gently. You made me believe. For a brief moment. Their eyes met his filled with uncertainty, hers filled with a new light that had not been there before. Then Daesung stepped through the portal. The world around him changed in a flash of light. He found himself standing on Earth again, near the research outpost, with the bright morning sun touching the ground. He breathed fresh air and felt the familiar wind on his face. He was home, but he knew he was not the same. He looked up at the sky, wondering if Queen Lyra was watching. Maybe she was. Maybe. One small human with a simple answer really could change the path of an empire. That baby hope was enough. Daesung promised himself that if the Aurelians ever returned, Earth would be ready not for war, but for something better.